Super Rugby Pacific round 2 is just a couple of days away, and it is time for another extremely exciting round. And of course, this round, the Queensland Reds make their first appearance in 2025, and we'll get into all that and all the team news, and we'll go over all that in just a moment on the other side of this.
We saw that in the Island Test, we saw that in the England Test. It was a really tight game. And so I'll whack it up there it is. Now there's a little bit of chat about the fact that if you need to get creative, like, get scribe, you know the rest.
First up, it's the Chiefs who welcome the Crusaders to Waikato, and it is going to be a hell of a clash because the Chiefs are coming off a really good win, and so are the Crusaders. It's going to be the real test for the Crusaders for the first time. Although last week was the first game and they got the win over the Hurricanes, the Chiefs beat the championship Blues last week, and so this is going to be another step up for them. And if they can get a decent result against the Chiefs, then the Crusaders are well and truly back and they can forget the horrors of last year. I think the exciting team news from an Australian perspective is that Jerome Brown, the previous Wallabies, is now back in New Zealand, his country, and he's going to be debuting for the Chiefs. Quinn Tupaia moves to the bench. And for the Crusaders, I think it's really exciting that Carl Preston, the hero, the reserve halfback from last week who scored a hat-trick on debut, is starting for the injured Noah Hoth. And Mitchell Drummond comes in as an experienced hand on the bench, which is great cover to have there. If we just take a quick look down the line, yes, that means that James O'Connor is still going to be on the bench and Taha Kamara is going to start once again, just because I believe that Rivez Rihana, who is their other young 5'8 option, is still nursing an injury and will be back. The forward pack is looking really good for the Crusaders. The Chiefs have made a couple of recalibrations with Tupou Vaa'i coming into the second row, and that's kind of the story for the broader picture for the entire side. They've really started to integrate some of those All Blacks and some of those players that weren't really part of the entire preseason back into the side, and that's Clayton McMillan just acknowledging that they are extremely quality players, obviously because they're All Blacks, but they've just needed some time to work into the new systems and to be able to get back up to match fitness. Apart from that, I think the biggest thing to note is that Anton Leonard-Brown moves into outside centre, but D-Mac remains at 15. So everyone who's got him in your fantasy team, maybe that's another goer again because he scored 104 last week, and if you captain him, that's 208 points. That is a difference maker. The next game of the round, we see Moana Pacifica head to Brisbane across the Nullarbor to face the Queensland Reds for their first game. And this is really exciting because it's Les Kiss's side first opportunity to show what they've got in 2025. And as you can expect, Les Kiss has named almost a full-strength side with a couple of exceptions. Obviously, Liam Wright's injured, TBC on that. Lukan Salakai Loto as well in the second row. But apart from that, he's named an extremely impressive side. It's almost an entirely Wallaby backline, bar for, I believe it's Tim Ryan on the wing. Yes, the rest of them are all indeed Wallabies. And then you've got the exciting announcement that Massimo De Lutis, the massive young tight head prop, is debuting. So finally, after being held back a little bit, and then there's been some complications along the way, he's finally getting his debut in a Queensland Reds jersey. So he'll be chuffed with that. Conversely, Tana Umaga for the Moana Pacifica has made very few changes, only one to the match day 23, which I believe that it is a winger in, let me have a look. Lossi Filippo, I believe, comes in as jersey 23, which will replace that. Apart from that, it's entirely the same side, which played against the Force just over a week ago, and that they will draw some confidence in that because the cohesion index will go up, and they will know exactly what's required in the hot conditions in Queensland to be able to put a side like that under some real pressure. They had extremely impressive ruck speed last weekend, and also that may have to be their format again because the Reds are another side which have an extremely quick breakdown rate. So players like their second rower, Sione Havili Talatui and Ardi Sevilla, will have to be like that ruck like white on rice, and they have to really disrupt that flow because otherwise the Reds do tend to get into some momentum, and I expect them to have some extreme attacking flair, seeing as they've just recently returned from the UK with 2 trial matches there. The first game on Saturday is the Hurricanes versus the Fijian Drua in Napier, I believe. Yes, it is. So that will be a home game for the Hurricanes, and it is just on the outside of Wellington. So that's really exciting. It's the first trip the Fijians have away since they welcomed the Brumbies at home last week and lost that game. So winning on the road is going to be extremely important for the Drua, and I think that a game like this can potentially look like a banana skin game for the Hurricanes, but that's also is super exciting because the Fijian Drua have an opportunity where they really don't need to worry about that the pressure's on them. They don't really have a lot to lose in the sense that they don't have a track record winning away from home, so they can really target this game after a close but heavy loss, in the sense that it was a bit demoralising because they haven't lost at home to an Australian side before last week, so they're going back to that. If we go through the Hurricanes team first, extremely powerful front row. That's the thing. Their second row stocks have taken another hit with Isaac Walker-Lea, where he has had to step out just because of a concussion, I believe, a head knock. And so that means that alongside Caleb Delaney comes in Hugo Plummer. And the Type 5 is an aspect, more so specifically the second row is a worry, is an issue area for the Hurricanes, just because they don't really have those All Black stocks like the other sides do, or extremely experienced locks in that sense. So we'll see how that goes against an extremely impressive Fijian pack. But that could be an area to look out for on the day if there is a weakness or not. Otherwise, the back row, extremely powerful with Brad Shields, co-captain, Duplessis Karifi, co-captain, and Braden Yose. Number 8, extremely powerful ball runner, Cameron Roygaard. Had a bit of a quiet game last game, but I think that he'll want to step up this game for sure. If we flip on over to the Fijian Drua, it's a pretty similar team. Frank Lamani starts in the number 9 jersey as opposed to Simeone Kuravoli, which was last week, but he played very well. Maybe that's just a rotation thing with the travel. Donge comes in. Isaiah Armstrong Ravula starts at 10 as opposed for Caleb Muntz, who shifts back to the bench. Caleb Muntz grew into the game last week, but maybe that's just tip of the hat from Glenn Jackson there to being like, Caleb, you didn't play your best. We're going to give Isaiah a turn and also rotation because that's extremely important. So that's extremely impressive. And then the most exciting thing is that Ilyasa Droasese is back at fullback, and that was something perhaps they were missing from a tactical perspective at the back. So that back line is looking already more complete and scarier, really. So that is going to be a hell of a game in Napier, and I can imagine there's going to be some pretty outrageous tries scored. So that's really exciting. Moving on to the game of the weekend, which I think will have the biggest score differential. It's the Highlanders hosting the Blues at Forsyth Bar in Dunedin. So there'll be lots of students out for the first home game of the year, but I am a little bit concerned that the Highlanders are coming off a tight loss to the Waratahs, and the Blues are coming off a unexpected, you must say, loss to the Chiefs, so they want to rectify that. And so when you're facing an angry Blues side who were the champions last year, then you don't really want to be in their way the week after they lose. So the Blues have gone in there with an extremely full-strength side. Ofatunga Fasi is back again after his 105th test game, rather, as opposed to the one that he notched the 150 last week. Congratulations to him. Patrick Tuipulotu is still in the second row with McFannel. And I think the biggest call in the back line is that Finley Christie, the All Black, is back at 9 with Funaki moving back to the bench. Bowden Barrett's still at number 15. There's been a lot of chat about what position you prefer him to be at, but that's just where he's stuck at. So we will see how that continues to go. But personally, I'd be playing him at 10 just because that's probably what you're playing him for the All Blacks, unless you have the mind with Jamie McKenzie, but he's also playing at fullback. So we'll see how that goes. And the last game of the weekend is the Brumbies taking on the Force in Canberra at home for their first home game after travelling away and securing the victory against the Fijian Drua last week. So the Brumbies have gone with an extremely jam-packed Wallabies side. They invite six Wallabies back into their side, rather, with an entirely Wallaby front row. You've got James Lipper, Billy Pollard, and Alan Alatoa, with Nick Frost in the second row, along with Tom Hooper, which was the absolute workhorse. And apart from Luke Reimer's 20-minute absolute legend status stint there in the game, Tom Hooper was the hero forward in that game. So that is an extremely powerful pack. And I think if the Force want to be able to be anywhere near this game in the end, because they did lose quite heavily, it was 40 plus something to around 15 or 20 points last time they played 2 weeks ago in a trial, also at St. Mary's College in Canberra. You'll be hoping that the forwards can get parity in this game, because that's really where it is going to come down to. In the back line, Noel Lacia has to step out due to concussion. That seems Declan Meredith, the young 5'8", promoted to the starting position in the number 10 jersey with experience of Jack Debrasini on the bench. And that means that he's going to have his game for the season as well. That's super exciting, with Lachlan Lonergan on the bench, Blake Shop on the bench, and Reece Van Neck. So you've got extremely powerful front row reserves coming on. And you see Ollie Sapsford move into the 12 jersey alongside Len Ikitown, which is one of the Wallabies, coming back, along with Tom Wright at fullback. That is a scary back line. But you've also got Hudson Criding moving to the back, and Tuaina Tuatalima moving to the bench as well, because you've got to make room for the Charlie Cale, who returns, this is actually ahead of schedule, I think. Some people were touting week 4, week 3. Charlie Cale was nursing a shoulder injury that he's now had a reconstruction for, and now he's back on the field. So that's super exciting for the Brumbies to be able to get Charlie Cale, who did debut in his Wallaby season last year. For the Force, they've named a pretty similar side alongside from what they named last week. It's virtually the same backline, except for Dylan Peach moves into the 14 jersey and David Palu steps out. You've got George Pullman as cover on the bench in the jersey 23, and Brandon Paying-Amosa comes into the number 16 reserve hooker jersey, just to give the front row reserves a bit of a boost, because they got absolutely demolished by the powerful Moana scrum last weekend, and that's deep in that second half. I mean, they can't have that again against the Brumbies, because the Brumbies will punish them even more so for that. And alongside him is Ryan Coxon, former Crusaders, also an experienced front rower. So that means that Simon Cron has identified this as an issue, and therefore has had to be forced to make changes. No Atu Moli, Atu Moli is alongside Ryan Coxon. They've obviously no Tiani Takapulu, because there was concern about a rib injury last week. Marley Pierce played very well in the front row, so he's still starting there. Sam Carter comes onto the bench in the second row. I think that's a really good choice, because he's an experienced campaigner, and he has also a former Brumby, so he has some knowledge of the system and how they like to do things. Isaac Fines, Lele Wase, and Mac Bury retained their halves positions on the bench, because those two played quite well in the dying minutes, and I would like to see, despite Ben Donaldson's strong performance, I'd like to see Max Bury have a longer stint in the 10 jersey for maybe the 60-minute mark. But there you have it. It's really exciting. I can't wait for round 2. It's going to be the Reds' first game, and we can't wait to see what Les Kiss does with his side. But as always, guys, please leave your comments in the comments in the section below. Let me know what you think about the sides. Let me know if you think that I've missed to highlight anyone, or if you want to highlight someone, please let me know. But always like, subscribe, and if you get any value from the channel, please do subscribe. That really helps me, and that will spread the word to more rugby lovers like yourself. But enjoy the weekend of games. I'll be doing a review which will come out on Sunday of the round, and then we'll just kick on to the next week. And I can't wait for the action this weekend. Until then, peace.